Reverend Jay Lang from the Napa Valley Center for Spiritual Living on the grounds of Bottle Rock, which has been postponed this year until September. Hi, Reverend Jay Lang here, inviting you to the 2021 Sip and Savor, where we are celebrating diversity right now, by honoring individuals who've made a significant contribution here.
Our own safety precautions of things. And to want to just encourage you to remember that we do have Spirit as the source of our health. And this quote is just so powerful that health starts with the knowledge backed by the conviction and belief that there is one life. That life is God's life, that life is perfect, and that life is my life right now, or our life. Regardless of what the condition may be, it knows what to do, how to do it, and when to do it. So we know that Spirit within us is the truth of our health. Now, at the same time, while we know that, we still wash our hands. We still use the hand sanitizer, and we know the truth is Spirit within us that is the health and wholeness of who we are.
Love is what we are made of. Love is what we belong to. Love is our deepest prayer. Love is what we are made of. Love is what we belong to. Love is our deepest prayer. Love. Love. is what we are made of. Love is what we belong to. Love is our deepest prayer. Love is what we are made of. Love is what we belong to. Love is our deepest prayer. Love. Love. Love is what we are made of. Love is what we belong to. Love is our deepest prayer. Love is what we are made of. Love is what we belong to. Love is our deepest prayer. Love is our deepest prayer. Love is our deepest prayer. freedom of choice. Speak choice. Spirit, guide my day. Open my heart, live your way. Teach me, hear your voice. Open my mind to the freedom of choice. Spirit, guide my day. Open my heart to live your way. Teach me to hear your voice. Open my mind to the freedom of choice.
Hi, I'm Diana Browning, and I just did the meditation.
Spirit, guide my day. Open my heart to live your way. Teach me to hear your voice. Open my mind to the freedom of choice. Spirit, guide my day.
Welcome, everybody. So good to have everybody. Do you think is that on outside? I'm going to see. Oh, go out there. Okay. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the anniversary for the Napa Valley Center for Spiritual Living. We are ready to start our program, so come on in. Find a seat. You're welcome to bring food and wine into the sanctuary. We're not going to be sacred about that today, so come on in. Yeah. So let's start heading our way inside. Make sure you get your hugs on the way in. And masks are required once we go indoors. We're going to start without you if you're not inside, so you better come on inside. You can do these hugs and talk conversations, just bring them on in. Masking.
my wonderful, my wonderful, wonderful. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. That's the whole thing right there. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of... Look around the room and just say, you are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. So let's do the sign language. I'm seeing some of you do it. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. Sing that again. You are the face of God. Hold you in my heart. I hold you in. You are a part of me. You are a part of me. You are the... All right, let's just do it one more time. You are the face of love. You are the face of love. Hold you in my heart. I hold you. And this is what the truth is of today. You are my family. You are the face of love. You are the face of, just that last line, you are the face of God. You are the face of God. You are the face of God.
How fitting next, I would like to invite Diego Garcia up at this time. You know, okay. The whole time you've been gone, I haven't told one lawyer joke at all, but I don't have any at the top of my head, but I think you might inspire me to get those back out of the, so I just want to honor you as what you were here for this center for, was it 13 years?
13 or 15, I think.
15 in all? It's amazing. And I loved being able to work with you and us creating services together. It was one of the greatest joys of my life. So I'm so glad you're here, and I would like you to share with them and whatever you want, whatever on your heart to share with us, and maybe to talk about the music program that we've had here. So thank you, Diego.
Thank you, Reverend Jay. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm thrilled to see each and every one of you. And it's so wonderful to be in community, in this room, in this very place. So blessed to have this, because we had this, but it was all kind of expanded out, and we were having to be in our own homes and still remember that sense of community. So for those of you who don't know, I used to play the piano here a little bit. It was my privilege and honor to be a music director, but more to be a witness to a spiritual growth, deepening, reflection, compassion, and being able to see infinite possibility.
Hi, I'm
And each and
Diana Browning, and I just did the meditation
Right.
at the church
when we
tonight. So
for ourselves. I was just one of a long line of creative people that got to come and bear witness. Of a center of community. One of the things that I learned by being here was also that I could, ask what is mine to do. When Reverend Janet was here, I asked myself, what is mine to wear? But we did have we've always had some really amazing times supporting each other through the passages of life. And one of the things I was able to do after I'd been here for a while is to ask myself again, what is mine to do? And my calling took me in a very interesting direction, which was to law school. And then it took me to a law firm in San Francisco. And then very strangely, I got a call, as you do, and you have to pick up the phone when you get the call, from Dickinson, Peatman, and Fogarty here in Napa Valley. So Yes, so on Monday morning, I'm starting at Dickinson, Peatman, and Fogarty right down the street. So, yes. No, really. I mean, lawyers would dream of having applause when they come into a room, usually. Um, but you better get the jokes ready because I think we're going to give you a lot of material. But that's the kind of fun personal part of it. But the important part is that it came from vision. It came from prayer. It came from sitting with a practitioner and saying, I'm thinking about these things. I want to do this other thing, and can we pray on it? That was always the go back to, that there was so much support for going back to prayer that for me it actually took me to another place. I needed to serve in another way now. It's not to say that if you sit with a practitioner, you will have to go to law school and become an attorney. I think there's more compassion and more lawyer jokes to come out of that. But the very point is that here we value the power of prayer, the power of spirit, the power of God to give you the path. If you can't see it, they'll put on the floodlights for you. And we have practitioners, we have ministers, we have dedicated people. And each and every one of us gets to be that dedicated person, dedicating ourselves to receiving spirit, to transmitting through music, through words, through the lyric, and through the presence of spirit, which is in this very room. God is present in this very room because we are here. It's not one or more, it is all of us, it's global. So I congratulate you, I congratulate us, I give thanks to God and Spirit, to Reverend Jay, to the board, to each and every one of you, and for those that we guide of our jewel box here, who we get to shine the light on and recognize the God and the Spirit within each and every one of them. Thank you.
Thank you, Diego. Such a treat to have you here, and Sarah. So blessed to have you. And we'll be getting to see you more, just running to downtown randomly. So, the other part that another part I want to acknowledge is our practitioners. I know my life has been transformed through prayer. And it's been continued to be transformed because the practitioners here, because we every week we pray for each other, we pray for others. Let you know, you may not know what effect those prayers have had in your life, but I guarantee you, your life is more than at least 20. So she's going to share with us about the history of practitioners here at the center.
Thank you. Love you too. Woo, woo, woo. Well, it was so neat to follow Diego because when I was on platform all those many years, Diego would sing, and then he gave us a song of words today, a song of words. But our practitioners are the healing arm of the church.
Could you get a little closer to the mic?
Yes. And they've been the backbone of consciousness and the healing arm of the center. And we've held you in truth and love, and have been especially prayerful leadership when we were between ministers. And so I'm going to just briefly acknowledge all the people that we know that have been practitioners. Our very Mary Allen, and Ruth Wilson. 1978, our beloved Rhoda Mills became a practitioner. She was with Jerry Brady, Fred Braitko, Ann Kuehl, Robin Lacey, and Nancy McCormick. And then in 1982 came Jerry Brady, Connie Gerlich, Nancy and McNadd, I remember them, and Elsie Winterhalter. And after that, we have the records of these classes of practitioners. 1988, our Peggy Lyles and Lee Crawford. 1994, Art Smith, Joanne Koenig, Sherry Jensen, who later became a minister in Colorado. I think she's just recently retired. She's still there? Oh, okay. Oh, good, good. And 1996, John and Suzanne Fouts. We used to have picnics up at their ranch, Mountain Home Ranch. 2000, me, Becca Pranchik, and Larry Luttrell, who's here tonight too. Welcome back, Larry. 2003, Diana Browning, who's off on a cruise at the moment. Janet Champion, Janet's in the back. And Christina Heim. 2007, Tamara George, Lisa Morris, and Lana Cairns, who's in Utah now. 2010, Rosie Graho, Susie Carlisle, Mary Hermalick, Georgianne Kite, who's still a practitioner with us, but she's living in Oklahoma. Julie Schmidt, who's now a minister. She went into ministerial school just 2 years
the community would hold together after a beloved minister of 17 years left, because not all communities would. They would go, oh, Janet's not there anymore. I don't want to go anywhere. You know, and what we experienced was a solid community. So then I decided to apply for the job. You know, it's already in my mind, because Napa, who wouldn't want to be here? And but this day, you know, I'm trying to be all coy. I guess I'm not good at coy. I don't know, but she cornered me, just a one-on-one conversation. She said, are you thinking about applying? I go, yeah, I'm thinking about applying. She goes, well, you need to know this place is not a stepping stone. This place, if you're going to come here, you're going to be here for a while, because this community is important. It's essential, and it's powerful, and you need to, they need someone here that's going to be here for a while. So, and the other thing is the beautiful dance that she did, because not all centers have healthy transitions to a new minister, but the transition you gave me, the blessing you gave me of co-minister for a while, and then just blessing me and basically telling people this guy's going to do it. This guy's a good guy. You know, you can trust him. And I so appreciate that. And here I am in my 8th year, and I'm not going anywhere. So I'd love for you to just share some remarks to them.
Well, we got the right guy for sure. Yes. So thank you, Jane. And I do remember that day, because I was actually quite naive, and Jay and Michelle had called to say they're visiting Napa Valley Center. And and Mary said, I think that guy's coming to check us out. You know, now when you say that to a woman, it has some meaning. So I said, really? You think so? And Mary has so much more of a sense of that. She goes, yeah, I'm pretty sure. So they're sitting in the front row, and then the service is over. And then I think, okay, I'm going to corner this guy. So I get him in the office, and I have the conversation, and Jay just looks at me. But what I knew, he was right, when someone else who's trying to be so coy would say, well, he was upfront with exactly where he was. Yeah, I'm here. We're here to look and see, and we're thinking, is this the right place? And it's hard. And he was so upfront. I thought, that's the man. Yeah. So thank you, Jay. That honesty has carried you through. Yeah. I'm so excited to be here. 50 years, I can hardly believe it. But I did not want to start even speaking without these names being mentioned in the room. Reverend Barbara Thomas Smith, my preceding minister and angel. Barbara Steele, Jenny Goodsall, Lee Crawford, Rhoda Mills, Patricia Witt, Alois English. Unbelievable, beautiful people. Yeah, they were the welcoming committee, and they made me feel like, don't worry, we have you, we're here. And that was something. So I wanted to talk today just about this community and what it offers and what it has given me. You know, when I left here, I went to Canada. And the good news was, if you are truly a practicing religious scientist, you can go to any church and interpret and get a spiritual hit, because you know there's only one life, and that life is God. And however you say it, and if it's fundamental, if it's, I was charismatic for a while, I mean, you know, the whole thing, you are grounded in the idea that God is everywhere present. So I wanted just to say what the offering of this community when I came, and as I have come back, to see that the root is still strong. And it's the eminence of spirit, the power of prayer, and the gift of legacy. And in that understanding, I just wanted to say that in the eminence of spirit, I had gone to other churches. When I was in Canada, there wasn't a religious science church around me. And so I was going to any church, and my grandkids were like, Grandma, why do you always have to go to church on Sunday? And I said, because it's like a thank you card, that I'm so blessed. Any place available to me was the idea of life after death was a big thing. There was such a transactional environment sometimes. And if I did this and was really good, I'd go to heaven. But I was so steeped in, I want to live heaven on earth. And the principles that I learned here were so important to that. And even though I could translate it in another place, I wanted everyone that I encountered to have the experience of religious science, because it has transformed my life in that way. I'm not transactional. I'm not waiting for something to happen. It's all happening here. It's all happening right this moment. God is present. And so that was such a gift to me in that. And then the redemption qualities, like everything was about redemption instead of creation. Like I'm always having to be redeemed from something. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can translate it, but I wanted those talks. And I saw people struggling with the idea of how much sin they had, how much this or that. And I thought, if you only had the principles of creation, born in grace, born a blessing, born because you're here to shine the light of the divine, that message so lived in my heart, and it was because of religious science and because of what we're learning. This has been a tough time for all of us with transition and COVID and politics and everything that goes on in the world. But I have a deep, deep sense that because of us, because of the legacy, those who have gone before us and those who will come after, they might hear it differently, but if we stay steady, they'll hear the message, and what's ever before us, we'll get through it. And I honestly, truly am so grateful for the teachings that have happened here. And there's a legacy, a lot of different faith communities hold the teachings, but it's so positive. And this is why we support and become part of a community, because we're the runaways from those kinds of ideas. We've left them behind. Honest to God, I had to say to myself every single time I would get engaged in the news or this, I know this, but I know something greater. There is one life, that life is God. And prayer would call me back to keeping my sanity through a lot of different changes that have happened. So I want to acknowledge that about religious science. And the other is that there was an actualization of spiritual power. And Diego's touched on it. One of the things that I loved and I had in the legacy, and Reverend Barbara was my mentor, to stick with the power of prayer. That was her guidance to me as I came in. And I was here every Tuesday. The practitioners met in a circle, spoke your name, your prayer request, spoke something, not from, oh God, please give them that $1 million they're asking for in the prayer request. We'd like that because, you know, we knew we'd be doing well because we also taught tithing, but we truly, the prayer was open our hearts, allow us to express your love, your light, and your grace. And that's why this is one of the most gracious churches. You never see a church with the beauty that this is always going to express, the graciousness with which all things are manifest and handled. It's an amazing thing. So I couldn't go without saying the power of prayer today. And the other thing that really was there is the power of legacy. And right now I have a beloved, Paul. So, yes. Woo! So at 76, when you get into a relationship and it's COVID, his first thing was, should I get back so we can kiss? I said, yeah, I'll get mine too. Hold on. So it's been just an amazing, because instead of dying, I'm living. And I am planning to keep on living. And that's the principles of religious life. So, but in that, I just want to acknowledge Karen Drucker, the first minister here. Paul and I listened to her CDs all the way up because it's a long drive and it's nerve-wracking. But Karen's voice in the car reminded us we are blessed, we are good, we are healthy, we are whole. So I want to acknowledge that. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. And Diego, oh my God, my relationship with Diego, besides being your fashion plate, those red pants, did you see the red stripe in the jacket? I noticed. But every week, Diego's music was a prayer. It was a prayer, and all of us held those prayers in our heart, and it moved us to make it through the week, whatever challenges we had, because of the sincerity and the depth that you sang from. So I want to acknowledge Diego. I must acknowledge Dottie Hopkins today, because when I got here, we were in one place, and then we had to scramble, and we got somewhere else, and then Dottie was always, we're going to have our own place. We're going to have, and this wasn't even on the market, and she had us signing papers. So Dottie, thank you. You gave us our home. Thank you so much. And Judy Wagner, that I would go to for guidance and counseling. Thank you so much. Peggy Lyles, who was in the office when I was there and just helped me get oriented and did such beautiful work. And that's when I had my dog Shanti that ate all of her lunches, but she hung in there. So thank you so much, Peggy. Yeah. And I just want to recognize Michelle and Reverend Jay. And honestly, this does bring tears to my eyes. I know the future is going to be okay. I really do know that. And we have never been a big crowd. I mean, we're not the mass media people. We're just not. But we're the people that sow seeds that go deep. And we're reminders that we are the expressions of God. That's who we are. And that's our work in the world. And we have never deviated from that. I want to thank Mary Ward, who keeps us on track in this church on that. All of the practitioners, everyone there, Karen and everyone today, I couldn't help it. I had to come and set up. You get trained here. That's great. Thank you. I'm sorry if I don't mention your name. It isn't that it's not in my heart. There's so many people to just recognize, but I do want to recognize Reverend Jay and Michelle. It's a lot to move somewhere, to come into a ministry that's already established and to give everything you have. And it takes sacrifice, but I can see, look at how beautiful the courtyard is, the church, everything is flourishing here. So the only message I have is stay the course. Stay the course. We're going to turn it around. What we see in the culture right now, we know is consciousness being outpictured. There is a consciousness of the separation from God, and it comes from an old story that we're a bunch of sinners, we got kicked out of the garden and blah, blah, blah. I'm telling you, it's not true. I'm just laying it right out. The truth is, we're born in grace. We are here to express God's life. We have everything we need is already provided for us. And so we're just opening our hearts and accepting that. And I want to thank the Reeds for all the activities, and thank you for all of our very big events that have happened in your place and all the work that you've done, and all the other people who are here, Laura and Janice, and I just can't even say enough. But one thing, I'm very happy to be back. I'm very happy for the principles of religious science. I'm in a religious science church in Orange County with Reverend Sandy Moore, supporting that in whatever ways I can, because I am not going to let this message go under, not in these times. So God bless each and every one of us as we hold the light. We are moving forward. Consciousness is changing. It is changing. We don't see it because it isn't presented to us. But if it weren't for the suffragettes, there wouldn't be a woman minister. If it wasn't for other things, we wouldn't be here. Do not lose faith. We're going to turn it around. Tell everyone you know, you are the light of the world. Thank you so much.
No, thank you. Thank you. It's so good to hear you up here again, Janet. It's so beautiful. So thank you. Your elegance and your consciousness is just wonderful to have here. So thank you. Thank you. And so we just want to, I know we're going on here a little bit, but that's going to be the nature sometimes. Think of it as a wedding that just keeps going and going, because this is a beautiful marriage we have. But I would like to share a couple comments from people to come up and just share a few things about their experience. And so I'm going to start with Dottie Hopkins. Speaking of Dottie, who was very influential in helping us financially along the way. So thank you, Dottie.
Hi, everybody. It's so lovely to see everybody in the room. I've been watching on Zoom. It's not the same experience. So I am the longest living member of the church, which is why I was asked to come up here. So I don't want to say oldest, but that may be the truth as well. So my first day was in January of 1978, and it was just a couple of weeks after Reverend Barbara began. And my mother just had been begging me to come for several months, and I kept saying, I don't go to church. I don't believe in that anymore. And anyway, so she had me come. And the way she got me here, she said, you don't even have to say God if you don't want to. Ernest Holmes says you can call it Snick and Bullis. So I said, okay, I'll go. So by the time we got to the end, and in those days we always stood and held hands and sang the peace song. And by the time we got to the end, I was sobbing because I knew I had come home. And I didn't even know what I was missing, but my heart felt it. And I've been pretty much sitting in that front seat in all the various places we've been ever since. So 43 years. And this last January. Anyhow, this has been home. It has changed my life. I took all the classes. I followed all the directions. I embraced it. I was born and raised into Christian Science, so metaphysics was easy for me. I didn't have to unlearn all the fear and stuff. But there was a lot in that, very kind of old time metaphysics that no longer worked for me. And this was like a bright new light of thought that I just embraced immediately. Life has been wonderful virtually ever since. My husband Jack is here with me. I don't want to say, because he's sitting here, that our marriage was not then what it is now, but on Wednesday we will celebrate 59 years of marriage. And believe me, a lot of what I learned here contributed to that. I've had a wonderful, wonderful business for many years, 37 years, and a lot of it, I think, has come out of consciousness, just knowing that if you continue to do what you know is right and serve, you'll be rewarded. And I've had the most wonderful relationships with many of the people here through my business, and it's just been such a blessing. So anyway, it's just a fabulous place. And I have to say, my mother died shortly after we started here, the next year in 79, and Reverend Barbara came and sat at my house and held me almost daily for weeks, because I would have lost it. That kind of love and support, I can't imagine any other church would have provided it. It was just amazing. And so I did take a short hiatus from the church when Reverend Barbara retired, and there was someone else here. So it was sort of a boycott. So I guess I could split my time here up, but it was shortly resolved. and Janet came and made everything right again. But I actually was here when we had Karen as our musician, so you can all be jealous of that. That I think she was about 15, but she was such a fabulous musician. We all thought, how did we get this incredible talent in Napa? And who's ever heard of the Napa Valley Church of Religious Science? But there she was every Sunday. So it was a blessing. So anyway, thank you, everyone. I'm so happy that we're all here tonight.
Thank you, Dottie. And now a few words from Peggy Lyles, who was Mary before Mary and a practitioner for a long period of time.
It's been a while since I have stood in front of a group, so just bear with me. It's really wonderful to be back. It's just very, very touching, and it's such a beautiful place. It just is, every detail is just simply wonderful. So most of, or a lot of what I was going to say has already been said. And just a couple of highlights about how I ended up here. I've always said that I feel God in the air in Napa Valley. And it's personified here in this center. It's wonderful. I wish I could take all of you with me. I left the church 11 years ago to be close to my family, and I've never found anything quite like it since then. But I do keep up my prayer work. I do think of you. I do watch on Sunday. I've enjoyed the talks very much. So just a few words about how I ended up here. I was raised in a traditional church environment, and I wanted something different for my family. So I began to search for a church that I could feel comfortable in. I must have come right after Dottie did. It was in the late 70s. I discovered the Church of Religious Science, which was a name I didn't quite connect with. I had never connected religious and science before, so I had to process that. But I heard Dottie attended and someone else I knew, I think a babysitter attended. So I thought, well, it probably is an okay place. The church was in a very small building, and I believe it had been a library. That Sunday, the service was well attended, and there was a lady minister, which again was not something I was used to. I actually didn't know women could be ministers. It sounds like I lived in the dark ages, but I think I probably did. So Reverend Barbara was the minister. Of course, I enjoyed her sermon very much. And then I also learned to call them talks. Sort of gave up the word sermon. So in that church, there was a door like right over here. And at the end of the service, we stood, we sang the peace song, and we held hands. That, again, was a little unusual. You know, the peace song was very nice, but it was not a hymn. And we certainly had never held hands before, but it was okay. It was very nice. And then as that door opened, the children came in from junior church. And I'm still moved by that. It was just like the light of the world. You know, it was like there's hope for the world. So I joined the church. I took the classes. I became a practitioner, and you know, even through the difficult times, we stuck it out, and we ended up with Reverend Janet. Now we've got Reverend Jay, and I fully expect 50 more wonderful years.
Maybe we'll return to holding hands at the end of the service again, too. Who knows? So, are we able to show the video? Okay, if not, that's okay too. We can post it online. So Diana Browning, who's been real influential in the center, was unable to be with us. She's actually in Croatia, so it's a little hard to commute from Croatia to this. So I will just post it online. She did a video for us, and so I'll post on Facebook or give you a link to it. I think the importance of the longevity of people. Now, the name Church of Religious Sciences has been thrown around. I want to make sure you know that we changed our name to the Center for Spiritual Living about 15 years ago. And I think religious science was just a little confusing for people at times. And I think we updated who we are in that way. So we're happy with that. But I'm kind of curious. So who has attended the center for more than 1 month? Raise your hand. How about more than 1 year? Raise your hand. More than 3 years. More than 5 years. More than 8 years. More than 10 years. More than 15 years. Now, if you took a little break in there, count when you first started, how long ago you started. More than 20 years ago? Wow. More than 25 years ago? More than 30 years ago? More than 35 years ago? More than 40 years ago, I think, yeah. Dale and Dottie. I know Rhoda she was here she was a practitioner for more than 40 years. Wow. Francis Fowler, who they had a church on Menlo Street, and they built an extension and called it Fowler Hall. And actually the congregation built most of that. So it's just some fascinating history. So how wonderful to be a part of that.
We sold it, and it's now the
Genealogical Society, right. It's small, very small little place. So when we think about this vine that runs and runs and runs and continues, Laura Keller created this. And, you look back here in the 1960s when Ruth started this whole thing, and people like Fenwick Holmes, the brother of Ernest Holmes, was here. Charles Raymond Barker, different people, Reginald Armour, big names in these that came through here, as well as continued to come through this place and that weave their way around this. And then particularly in the last 20 years, we've done so much outreach in this community. We have stepped out. We've done more because our organization tends to be an internal, like meditate and find peace. But we found that we could take this peace out into the world. And the Peace Table was an amazing. How many people were part of the Peace Table back 20 years ago? That was an amazing thing that for over, I think, about 3 years it happened and involved the whole community. It was an amazing thing, and we continue. Continuing legacy to be from here. What is important for us to bring into the next 50 years? The next expression of the divine that will continue. I know it will continue. I have faith in that because we've had 50, really 60 years of Science of Mind teachings here in Napa. And I know this will continue. And what is your part? What do you want to do to help to add to it and contribute to it? So I encourage you today to, this timeline is going to stay up for a couple weeks. And there, back in this corner, there's always going to be a marker and some Post-its back there. So add ideas you have, what you want to happen. Just recently, thanks to Lori Hart, we designed some new parts of the courtyard, and that's still evolving. So we're also this site, yeah. This site, we're here to stay also. So how do we want to evolve it? What do we want to shift into? How do we want to serve? And how do we individually want to serve? And the community, how do we want to serve? And we want to continue to move this forward in this way. I also appreciate you considering what your Most of you, if you didn't, they're available today. You received cards of intent. And I know we've received many of yours back, and I really appreciate that. But what is going to be for the next year, your anticipated giving, so that we can take what is anticipated and begin to plan the outreach that we're going to do with it. And we really appreciate your commitment to that, your sharing of your heart, that we know that's where your giving comes from, and we appreciate that. As well as engaged in different kinds of classes or services, where, how you can be a part of this growing. And I really feel like we spent a year and a half. This has been a hard year and a half. Nobody I know hasn't been challenged. Some people more than other people. I acknowledge that too. But what a blessing this center has been through this time, to be a lifeline for people, and continues to be. So I just honor you where we've been, where we are right now, and how we're continuing to evolve, because consciousness makes a difference. It makes a difference in our own lives and in the lives of other people's, to spread this joy and this love and this peace. I want you to continue just to think about that a little bit. And we're going to have Karen come up and give us one last song here. And,
This kind of sums it up. In this moment, in this place, I remember who I am, letting fear and worry just fall away from me. Open my heart and I can see that there is only love. There is only love, sweet love. It's a love that will heal. Love will set us free. There is only love. And when I lose myself, in those times when it feels like I have lost my way, I just go inside and I quiet this chattering mind. And that's when I can hear spirits say, would sing with me, there is only love. There is only love. There is only love. Love that heals. Love that heals. Love that sets me free. There is only love. There is only love. You gotta sing it again. And there is only love. There is only love. Love that heals. Love that heals. Love that sets me free. There's only love. There is only love. There is only love. There is only love. It's a love that heals, love that sets me free. There is only love. There is only love. There is only love. What I think is in this room right now. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets me free. There is only love. There is only what we have right here in this community, with all the ministers that have come before, with all the practitioners, and everyone who comes in this wonderful sanctuary. It's just love, 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 love.
Are the candles out on the table? We're going to do that now. So as you go, make sure you get a candle for yourself. And when you light the candle, think of the light within you that's always burning. And think of the light that we're honoring that you have shown in the center. That you have been gracious enough and mindful enough to be present, not only here, but with each other. I think that's a big part. For me, my greatest legacy is not the number of talks I'm given or the number of classes I've taught, but the individual or group conversations I've had where we recognize the divine in each other, that we've listened to each other deeply and profoundly, and recognizing the divine, the face of God in each other. I think that's the greatest gift we can give each other. So to take your candle, and it says gratitude on it, so you're going to remember that. It's pretty easy. That we're grateful for you, and to take the time to be grateful for yourself and your willingness to show up in this world. So many blessings, and thank you for being a part of this. Well, for all of you too. Feel free to hang around a little bit longer and say hello to the people you might not have before. But what we know is as we go forth, we are all blessed. We are blessed because we are a community, and we're blessed because of the truth we are. So go with God. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Good night. Reverend Jay Lang from the Napa Valley Center for Spiritual Living on the grounds of Bottle Rock, which has been postponed this year until September. Hi, Reverend Jay Lang here, inviting you to the 2021 Sip and Savor, where we are celebrating diversity
right now,
by honoring
a lot of
individuals
fears
who've made a
about
significant
health,
contribution here.
our own safety precautions of things, and to want to just encourage you to remember that we do have Spirit as the source of our health. And this quote is just so powerful that health starts with the knowledge backed by the conviction and belief that there is one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect, and that life is my life right now, or our life. Regardless of what the condition may be, it knows what to do, how to do it, and when to do it. So we know that Spirit within us is the truth of our health. Now, at the same time, while we know that, we still wash our hands. We still use the hand sanitizer, and we know the truth is Spirit within us that is the health and wholeness of who we are.